Trash Talk and Tall Tales podcast. We upload new videos on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and we're also on Spotify. So please come check us out, and don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. My name is James.
And my name is Marlon.
And I think Marlon has a topic for us today.
I do. I came across a couple posts that I thought were interesting. Basically, the premise is how to tactfully tell your partner that you're dissatisfied. All right.
Sounds good.
I'm going to have them read it. Let's see.
I'm really dissatisfied with my sex life with my girlfriend. I have a way higher sex drive than my girlfriend, and it started to get to me a little bit. I feel really dissatisfied with our sex life. I've tried to talk to her about it, but every time it's gone nowhere, and I always end up feeling stupid for ever bringing it up at all. What to do? I wouldn't ever make her have sex with me if she doesn't want to, and I'm not going to cheat on her. I really love this girl, but I'm really frustrated with how much sex we have. I could have it once or twice a week, and she'd be perfectly okay with having sex once every 4 months.
In a pickle there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
What do you think?
you got to talk to him about it. That's one. Communication's key. Something we both said on here. And is the person actually willing to hear what you're saying and make an effort to change? At the same time, if she doesn't want to do that, he's going to have to look in himself and see what he wants to do. Does he love her enough or like her enough to stay when one of his needs are not being met? That's a hard thing to deal with. And I'm just going to say this too. If they have been intimate with each other frequently before, and all of a sudden there's a change or a gradual change happens, something's rotten in Denmark, because something's going on externally.
Well, it could be medically.
Could be. It could be. But the thing is, has she told him that there was something going on medically? That's communication. So he would have to, he would have to know that up front, and then, everybody can sympathize and empathize with somebody who's got something medically going on with them. And that gives you a valid reason for a slowdown or even a stoppage at this point.
Well, it sounds like neither one of them are communicating with each other. She's not communicating with him, and he's not communicating with her.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just say if something medically is going on, or even a chemical imbalance is going on, her meds are off. But he still needs to broach the subject because he's the one with the problem with it. She might be perfectly fine not having sex, especially if he said once every 4 months. Not everybody's love language is physical touch.
And that's correct. It just lends me to believe something else is going on if you have been that way before and all of a sudden it stops. Like I said, I think that's an easy conversation to have. You can definitely
it's not easy for everyone, though.
I think it would be if you trust your partner, which you're supposed to because you're together. You're supposed to be able to listen and receive what they're saying. And I think that's the problem with most of us out here today. We listen, but we don't receive it. We listen, and then we still think the same preconceived notions that we had before the conversation. I don't know. Like I said, I think there's something externally going on. I could be wrong, but you're talking about once in 4 months. That's like, you might as well have a pen pal for that. So I don't know. Like I said, I'll let you go ahead and get some points in on this as well.
I don't think something so much as external has to be going on. And I know what you probably mean by external is that she's probably cheating on him. And I don't think, am I right in saying that?
Yeah, for the most part.
No, that might not be the case, because women's bodies are complex. It's a lot going on with their plumbing. She could have something medically going on. She could be women have problems, I guess you could say,
that are different than men.
when their emotions are askew. Not only their emotions, when let's just say she gains some weight, she might not feel attractive anymore. There's so many different things goes on in a woman's mind, romantically or sexually, as opposed to a man's mind going on. A man is just nuts and bolts. Black and white. It is what it is. It is what it isn't. But with a female, there's so much more emotion, so many more chemicals, so many more bodily functions going on. That's just what I think. And I'm not a doctor, but so let's just say she's not cheating on him. Let's just say she gained a couple pounds. She might not feel sexy. You know, if she doesn't feel sexy, she might not want to be, want to be touched. But the main thing,
to me, that's weird though. Like, how do you not want to be touched by your partner?
That's how they are. I mean, if a woman doesn't feel like she's attractive, it's like the Gobi Desert down there, from what my understanding is. But they have a lot more going on than we do, you know. And
I understand. I do understand that. I get that.
But do you empathize?
That's a very good question, Marlon. Do I empathize? I think those conversations need to be had, and they need to be deep and thorough conversations. If she's feeling a certain type of way because of her weight, okay, that needs to be brought up. Or, you know, because I'm gonna tell you the truth, most guys don't really notice that kind of thing. Like, you can gain 5 or 10 pounds, a guy really wouldn't care, really, most of the time. Now, there are some out there, who are big about that, especially the fitness buffs and things like that. But most guys, that's not an issue.
It's not even top 10.
No, not at all. I think what it would have to be for me is I'd have to look at other factors in the relationship just to see if those are off as well. Is she not wanting to answer the phone as much? Is she not wanting to talk as much? Is she not wanting to come see me? Or is she, you know, all these things. I'd have to look at it. Is the, the drive to actually really just spend time with each other? Is it there? How is it when you're spending time with each other? Like, I would have to take in all of that in consideration before I'd make some kind of drastic decision about if she's cheating or if she's not.
Yeah, he doesn't bring any of that up. So, I mean, just going off of black and white, I just feel like everything's, just from reading this, it seems like everything's been the same. Everything's been status quo, except the sex drive.
Yeah, you know? That's a basic conversation though. Like that shouldn't be that hard.
It doesn't seem like he's talking about that, you know, anything external. But I still think that might be a hard conversation to have. Okay, let's flip the script, because people are sensitive, especially when it comes to sex. If a woman was dissatisfied with a man's sex life, and a woman came to a man and say, "Hey, I'm dissatisfied with our sex life," immediately the guard is probably going to go up, because we've talked about this. Men are sensitive creatures. So I don't think it's just an easy conversation to have. It's a conversation that needs to be had.
It's a necessary conversation.
It's a necessary conversation, absolutely. But I don't think it'll be an easy conversation. I think it needs to be handled very, very delicately.
Yeah, and I get that. But like I said, if you're being with this person long term and you're thinking about later down the road, you want to be with somebody who can handle those difficult conversations.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
So if you can't have this kind of conversation with somebody, then, you know, you might want to rethink what you're doing here, because you might be on some surface level type stuff. And if you're looking for something deeper and more meaningful, then that's not going to cut it for you. But I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying.
If they both love each other, then they should have this conversation. That's going to be a necessary talk, most definitely a necessary talk. But let's just say if she comes back and says, "Okay, once every 4 months is fine with me," what do you do?
That's when you have to make that decision. That guy's going to have to make that decision. Is it going to be?
Do you think that a man should break up with a woman if the bedroom isn't hot and steamy?
No, I don't think that's a valid reason to break up with somebody if you if you haven't talked about it. Now, if you talk about it and you understand that there's nothing medically going on, there is, you've talked about there is nothing weight wise, or she doesn't feel comfortable in her own skin, that type of deal going on. And like I said before, earlier in the relationship, I get, can be hot and heavy at first, and then everything kind of, settles to the bottom.
Reality sets in.
Yeah, I get that. But if that has been communicated and there is no change, yeah, you might want to start looking for somebody else.
I don't agree, sir. Honestly, I mean, that's me personally. I don't think. Yeah, of course, it's important. It's absolutely important, but it doesn't sound like that's one of his love languages. That just seems like it's something that he wants to do.
Well, we don't know that it wasn't said in the
no. I mean, just on black and white, it doesn't say that I don't feel loved, or that's one of my love languages. I mean, just going off black and white, it just seems like that's something that he wants to do. I mean, I could be absolutely wrong,
and it could be. But like I said before, you're going to be compatible with somebody in some ways. In some ways, you're not going to be. The question is, can you deal and be with somebody and put in all the energy and effort the same way if this person says, I don't want to touch you but once every 4 months? It's like that. For most guys, I'm going to be honest with you, it's going to be a no-go. If it's not anything medically going on, it's going to be a no-go,
so
especially if you started that way.
If everything else is perfect, you're saying that he should leave her? If
I'm not saying
everything else is 100%.
I'm not saying that he should leave her, but what I'm saying is, if that is one of your needs, so to speak, and that person can't meet you halfway, there's got to be some halfway mark, maybe, in that situation. If you can't come to some kind of compromise, if you can't come to some kind of agreement or whatnot, then I got to question, does that person really want to meet you halfway? Is this an ultimatum? Like, I'm not going to do this. Is it, what I'm saying? There's a lot of twists and turns that could come out of this.
There are. But I mean, just from a medical standpoint, I just feel like, there could be something else going on.
You might be talking about mentally, because I kind of preface with, if nothing's going on medically, if it's just one of these, the body's not syncing up with the mind type of deal, that's something we need to have a conversation. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
We need to have that conversation. That conversation is going to be tough, but if I care about you, we're going to have that conversation, and we're going to see if we can come to some kind of agreement. Do we need to go to therapy? Do we need to, change the way we do stuff? Do I need to do a little bit more, when it comes to the romance part or whatnot? If you can communicate those things to me, then yeah, we can work on it. But if it's like, I'm not going to do this for but once every 4 months, and that's just going to be the way it is, I don't know about that.
All right. Roger that. All right. Well, I think that's it. I think we can wrap it up from there. What do you think?
Yeah, that's cool. It's cool with me.
All right. Well, this has been Trash Talk and Tall Tales. Thank you for joining us. Remember, we upload to Spotify and YouTube every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. My name is Marlon.
And I'm James.
And thank you for joining us.